Get a love confession. Make your SP conform. Imagine waking up one morning and no longer wondering how they feel about you. No more checking your phone every few minutes. No more analyzing every message. No more questioning whether they will ever admit what is in their heart. Instead, you carry a quiet confidence so powerful that you already know the outcome. You know you are loved. You know you are chosen. You know the words, I love you, are no longer a distant dream. They are an inevitable expression of the reality you have accepted within yourself. The greatest love stories are not born from chasing, convincing, or waiting. They begin the moment someone transforms their inner world and refuses to let fear write the script of their life. Today you are about to discover that the power you've been searching for has never been outside of you. It has always existed in your own awareness, your assumptions, and the story you repeatedly tell yourself. For too long, people have believed that love depends on luck, timing, or another person's unpredictable decisions. They have spent countless nights wondering why someone won't text, why someone seems distant, or why a relationship hasn't unfolded the way they hoped. But what if the missing piece was never the other person? What if the greatest obstacle has always been the silent beliefs you carried about yourself? Every doubt whispers separation. Every fear imagines rejection. Every anxious thought reinforces a reality you never truly wanted. Yet the beautiful truth is that these patterns can change. The moment your inner conversation changes, your experience of love begins to change with it. Your specific person is not the prize, you are. The relationship you desire is not something you beg for. It is something you become aligned with. When you embody the version of yourself who is deeply loved, respected, cherished, and impossible to forget, your entire energy shifts. You stop reacting to a temperate appearance because you understand they are only reflections of old assumptions. Instead, you begin responding from certainty. You think differently. You feel differently. You carry yourself differently. And that inner transformation naturally influences the way you show up in your relationships. Throughout this journey, you are invited to release desperation and embrace conviction. Let go of the need to force outcomes, manipulate circumstances, or constantly seek reassurance. Choose instead to cultivate unwavering confidence in the love you desire. Picture the heartfelt confession you've been longing to hear. Imagine the warmth, the sincerity, the joy of that moment, not as wishful thinking, but as a rehearsal for the life you are choosing to live. The more natural that vision becomes within you, the more your actions, emotions, and expectations begin to align with it. This is your moment to stop asking whether love is possible and start living as though it is already yours. Leave behind the old story of waiting, uncertainty, and self-doubt. Step into a new identity where you are chosen effortlessly, loved wholeheartedly, and valued completely. As you continue listening, allow every word to strengthen your confidence, renew your perspective, and remind you of one simple truth. Lasting change begins within. When you transform the way you see yourself and the story you consistently believe, you open the door to healthier relationships, greater self-worth, and the possibility of experiencing the loving connection you have always hoped for. Imagine waking up one morning and no longer wondering how they feel about you. No more checking your phone every few minutes. No more analyzing every message. No more questioning whether they will ever admit what is in their heart. Instead, you carry a quiet confidence so powerful that you already know the outcome. You know you are loved. You know you are chosen. You know the words, I love you, are no longer a distant dream. They are an inevitable expression of the reality you have accepted within yourself. The greatest love stories are not born from chasing, convincing, or waiting. They begin the moment someone transforms their inner world and refuses to let fear write the script of their life. Today, you are about to discover that the power you've been searching for has never been outside of you. It has always existed in your own awareness, your assumptions, and the story you repeatedly tell yourself. For too long, people have believed that love depends on luck, timing, or another person's unpredictable decisions. They have spent countless nights wondering why someone won't text, why someone seems distant, or why a relationship hasn't unfolded the way they hoped. But what if the missing piece was never the other person? What if the greatest obstacle has always been the silent beliefs you carried about yourself? Every doubt whispers separation. Every fear imagines rejection. Every anxious thought reinforces a reality you never truly wanted. Yet the beautiful truth is that these patterns can change. The moment your inner conversation changes, your experience of love begins to change with it. Your specific person is not the prize. You are. The relationship you desire is not something you beg for. It is something you become aligned with. When you embody the version of yourself who is deeply loved, respected, cherished, and impossible to forget, your entire energy shifts. You stop reacting to temporary appearances because you understand they are only reflections of old assumptions. Instead, you begin responding from certainty. You think differently, you feel differently, you carry yourself differently. And that inner transformation naturally influences the way you show up in your relationships. Throughout this journey, you are invited to release desperation and embrace conviction. Let go of the need to force outcomes, manipulate circumstances, or constantly seek reassurance. Choose instead to cultivate unwavering confidence in the love you desire. Picture the heartfelt confession you've been longing to hear. Imagine the warmth, the sincerity, the joy of that moment, not as wishful thinking, but as a rehearsal for the life you are choosing to live. The more natural that vision becomes within you, the more your actions, emotions, and expectations begin to align with it. This is your moment to stop asking whether love is possible and start living as though it is already yours. Leave behind the old story of waiting, uncertainty, and self-doubt. Step into a new identity, one where you are chosen effortlessly, loved wholeheartedly, and valued completely. As you continue listening, allow every word to strengthen your confidence, renew your perspective, and remind you of one simple truth. Lasting change begins within. When you transform the way you see yourself and the story you consistently believe, you open the door to healthier relationships, greater self-worth, and the possibility of experiencing the loving connection you have always hoped for. Everything begins with the story you repeatedly tell yourself about love, relationships, and your own worth. Before anyone can consistently reflect love back to you, you first develop the habit of seeing yourself as someone who is genuinely worthy of being loved, respected, and appreciated. Many people unknowingly spend their days repeating thoughts such as, why haven't they called? What if they've lost interest? Or maybe I'm not enough. Those thoughts naturally shape how they feel, how they behave, and how they interpret every interaction. Instead of living from uncertainty, choose a different starting point. Begin each day by reminding yourself that you are valuable, regardless of anyone else's behavior. Picture yourself someone who naturally attracts honest communication, kindness, commitment, and mutual affection. When your inner dialogue becomes supportive instead of fearful, you begin to notice changes in your confidence, your emotional balance, and your ability to enjoy life without constantly seeking reassurance. This shift is not about pretending circumstances don't exist. It is about refusing to let temporary situations define your identity. You are not your fears, your past disappointments, or your moments of doubt. You are the author of the story you continue to believe about yourself. Every encouraging thought you practice becomes another brick in the foundation of a healthier mindset. Every moment you choose confidence over anxiety strengthens the version of you that naturally expects love rather than worries about losing it. When you consistently identify as someone who is worthy of open, honest, and reciprocal love, your conversations become calmer, your reactions become wiser, and your presence becomes more authentic. You no longer feel the need to chase, convince, or prove your value because you recognize that genuine relationships grow best when both people feel respected and emotionally safe. Instead of imagining rejection, begin imagining healthy communication. Instead of assuming silence means the worst, allow room for patience and understanding. Instead of asking, why don't they love me? Replace the question with, how can I become the most confident, peaceful, and emotionally secure version of myself today? That single shift redirects your energy toward personal growth instead of constant worry. Confidence is attractive not because it controls another person, but because it allows you to approach relationships with openness rather than fear. As you become more secure within yourself, you naturally communicate with greater clarity, set healthier boundaries, and create space for authentic connection. Love thrives where trust, respect, and emotional stability are present. Continue strengthening those qualities within yourself every day. Celebrate your progress instead of measuring your worth by someone else's actions. Speak to yourself with kindness. Appreciate your strengths. Learn from your past without allowing it to define your future. As your self-image improves, your expectations become healthier, your emotional resilience grows stronger, and your relationships are more likely to reflect the confidence and respect you have cultivated within. A heartfelt love confession is most meaningful when it arises from genuine feelings and mutual choice, not pressure or fear. By becoming the person who already feels whole, appreciated, and emotionally grounded, you create the best conditions for honest communication and a loving relationship built on sincerity, trust, and shared commitment. The most powerful transformation is not changing another person, it is changing the way you see yourself. Once your inner world is filled with confidence, gratitude, patience, and self-respect, you stop waiting for love to prove your value because you already know your value. From that place of inner security, you become more present, more joyful, and more capable of recognizing and receiving the genuine love that is available to you. The moment you stop placing another person on a pedestal and start recognizing your own value, everything about the way you experience love begins to change. Many people spend so much time trying to earn affection that they forget they are already worthy of respect, kindness, and genuine connection. They analyze every text message, every delay, every social media post, and every silence, hoping to find reassurance. Yet the more they seek constant validation, the more anxious and emotionally exhausted they become. Instead of making your specific person the center of your emotional world, become the center of your own. Build a life that feels meaningful, whether they are texting you at this moment or not. Invest in your personal growth, your health, your passions, your friendships, and your peace of mind. Confidence grows when you keep the promises you make to yourself. Every time you choose self-respect over self-doubt, you strengthen the belief that you deserve a relationship where love flows naturally and honestly. Imagine waking up already feeling appreciated instead of waiting for someone else to make you feel that way. Carry yourself like someone who knows their presence has value. Speak with confidence, act with kindness, and make decisions that honor your well-being. When you become emotionally secure, you stop chasing reassurance because you no longer believe your happiness depends on another person's immediate response. This change affects the way you communicate. You become calmer, more patient, and more authentic. You listen without fear, express yourself without desperation, and give others the freedom to choose while also honoring your own needs. Healthy love cannot be built on pressure or constant pursuit. It grows through mutual respect, emotional maturity, and honest communication. By becoming the version of yourself who already feels complete, you naturally create space for more balanced and meaningful relationships. This does not mean pretending you have no desires or emotions. It means understanding that your desires do not control your identity. You can deeply care about someone while still maintaining your confidence, your dignity, and your inner peace. Instead of asking, "What can I do to make them choose me?" begin asking, "How can I become someone who consistently chooses myself in healthy ways?" That question changes everything. It encourages growth instead of fear. It inspires confidence instead of insecurity. As you continue strengthening your self-image, you become less reactive to temporary circumstances and more focused on the qualities you want to bring into every relationship. Patience replaces panic, gratitude replaces frustration, hope replaces discouragement. You begin expecting relationships built on trust, honesty, and mutual effort, because that expectation reflects the respect you have learned to give yourself. If your specific person truly values the connection, healthy communication becomes possible through openness, understanding, and shared willingness. not through force or manipulation. A sincere love confession has the greatest meaning when it is freely given and supported by consistent actions. Your role is not to control another person's feelings, but to become the kind of person who naturally attracts relationships rooted in authenticity, emotional security, and mutual appreciation. The more you embody confidence, self-respect, and emotional balance, the more you notice opportunities for genuine connection. You stop seeing yourself as someone waiting to be chosen and begin living as someone who already knows their worth. From that powerful place, your relationships become less about fear of loss and more about the joy of sharing your life with someone who openly values, respects, and loves you. That inner transformation is the foundation upon which every lasting and meaningful love story is built. One of the greatest shifts you can make in your journey toward love is to stop living from the feeling of, I hope it happens someday, and begin living from the confidence that you are already becoming the person who naturally experiences a loving, committed relationship. Your mind is constantly creating expectations, and those expectations influence your emotions, your choices, and the way you interpret every situation. If you continually expect rejection, you may overlook moments of genuine care or react defensively out of fear. If you expect respect, honesty, and affection, you are more likely to communicate calmly, recognize healthy opportunities, and nurture stronger connection. This is why your inner perspective matters so much. Rather than measuring your progress by how often your specific person texts, calls, or expresses their feelings, begin measuring it by the peace, confidence, and emotional stability you are developing within yourself. Ask yourself each day, if I already believed I was deeply loved and valued, how would I think? How would I speak? How would I treat myself? Those questions invite you to step into a healthier identity long before external circumstances fully reflect it. You no longer spend your energy replaying painful memories or imagining disappointing outcomes. Instead, you gently guide your attention toward the kind of relationship you genuinely want to build. One marked by trust, open communication, emotional safety, and mutual appreciation. Picture yourself sharing joyful conversations, supporting one another through challenges, laughing together, and expressing affection freely. Let those images remind you of the future you are working toward rather than becoming an escape from the present. At the same time, remain grounded in reality by taking actions that support healthy relationships. Be honest about your feelings when appropriate, respect the other person's boundaries, and communicate with kindness instead of reacting from fear. Living with confidence is not about denying your emotions. It is about refusing to let temporary uncertainty define your entire story. Every day offers a new opportunity to strengthen your mindset. Replace thoughts of scarcity with gratitude for the love that already exists in your life, whether it comes from family, friends, or your own growing self-respect. The more emotionally fulfilled you become, the less you feel compelled to chase validation from one person. Ironically, this emotional independence often makes your interactions more genuine because you are no longer trying to force an outcome. You are simply showing up as your best self. If your specific person is meant to share a healthy relationship with you, authentic connection has room to grow through patience, understanding, and consistent effort from both sides. A heartfelt confession of love carries the greatest meaning when it arises naturally from sincere emotions rather than pressure or expectation. Your task is not to control another person's heart, but to prepare your own to receive love with confidence, wisdom, and maturity. Continue speaking to yourself with compassion, celebrating your growth, and believing that you deserve relationships built on honesty and mutual care. As your confidence deepens, you become less distracted by temporary appearances and more focused on creating a life filled with purpose, joy, and emotional balance. From that foundation, every conversation becomes more relaxed, every interaction becomes more authentic, and every opportunity for connection becomes richer. The strongest relationships are not built by convincing someone to love you. They are built when two people freely choose one another from a place of security, respect, and genuine affection. By embracing that mindset every day, You allow yourself to move forward with hope, resilience, and the quiet confidence that lasting love begins with the way you see yourself. One of the most powerful qualities you can develop on your journey toward love is consistency. It is easy to feel hopeful when everything seems to be going well, but true inner strength is revealed when circumstances appear uncertain and you choose not to let fear take control. There may be moments when your specific person takes longer than expected to reply, seems distracted by responsibilities, or behaves in ways you do not fully understand. In those moments, your immediate reaction can shape your emotional experience. Instead of assuming the worst or allowing doubt to become your constant companion, pause and remind yourself that one moment does not define an entire relationship. Healthy relationships are built over time through trust, patience, honest communication, and mutual understanding. Choosing to remain emotionally grounded does not mean ignoring reality or suppressing your feelings. It means responding thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. When uncertainty appears, return your attention to the qualities you want to strengthen within yourself: confidence, patience, kindness, resilience, and self respect. These qualities become the foundation of every meaningful connection. Imagine how someone who truly believed they were worthy of love would respond to temporary silence or unexpected delays. They would not immediately conclude that they were unlovable or forgotten. Instead, they would continue living their life, pursuing their goals, caring for their well being, and trusting that genuine relationships develop through mutual effort rather than constant anxiety. This mindset creates emotional freedom because your peace is no longer controlled by every external event. As you practice this consistency, you begin to notice remarkable changes within yourself. You become less likely to overanalyze every conversation, less tempted to search for hidden meanings in every interaction, and more willing to allow relationships to unfold naturally. Confidence grows through repetition. Every time you replace a fearful thought with a balanced perspective, you strengthen a healthier pattern of thinking. Every time you choose gratitude instead of worry, you remind yourself that your life is already full of value beyond any single relationship. This emotional stability also improves the way you communicate. Instead of speaking from frustration or desperation, you express yourself with honesty, calmness, and respect. You become a better listener because your mind is no longer consumed by fear. You become more compassionate because you recognize that everyone experiences challenges, misunderstandings, and moments of uncertainty. Love flourishes in an environment where both people feel accepted, respected, and emotionally safe. Continue focusing on becoming the kind of person who contributes those qualities to every interaction. Celebrate your personal growth instead of measuring your worth by another person's timeline. Build routines that support your happiness, maintain healthy friendships, pursue meaningful goals, and invest in activities that inspire you. The fuller your life becomes, the less pressure you place on one relationship to provide all your fulfillment. This balance allows love to develop more naturally because you are sharing your life rather than asking someone else to complete it. If your specific person has genuine feelings for you, authentic communication and commitment are most likely to grow through openness, trust, and shared willingness. A sincere confession of love has lasting value when it reflects honest emotions supported by consistent actions over time. By remaining patient, emotionally balanced, and confident in your own worth, you create the strongest possible foundation for a healthy relationship. Remember that your greatest victory is not controlling another person's choices, but becoming someone who remains secure, hopeful, and compassionate regardless of temporary circumstances. When you consistently choose peace over panic and confidence over fear, you prepare yourself to recognize, receive, and nurture the genuine love that is meant to be shared freely between two willing hearts. The final and perhaps most meaningful step on your journey is learning how to receive love before you constantly look for proof of it in the outside world. Many people spend their lives believing they will finally feel confident, peaceful, and worthy after someone tells them, "I love you." They postpone their happiness until a relationship changes, a message arrives, or another person behaves exactly as they hope. But lasting confidence is built in the opposite direction. It begins when you decide that your worth, your peace, and your ability to love yourself are not dependent on another person's immediate actions. Imagine waking up each morning with a quiet sense of gratitude, carrying yourself with the calm assurance that you deserve honesty, respect, affection, and commitment. Instead of asking, "When will I finally receive love?" begin asking, "How can I become more open to giving and receiving healthy love today?" This subtle shift transforms your perspective. You stop living in emotional lack and begin living with emotional abundance. You smile more freely, appreciate the people who already care about you, and recognize the many ways love appears in everyday life through friendship, family, kindness, compassion, and your own growing self respect. When your heart is no longer consumed by fear of rejection, you naturally become more approachable, more authentic, and more emotionally available. These qualities strengthen every relationship you build because they create an atmosphere of trust rather than pressure. Continue imagining the kind of partnership you truly desire, not simply hearing beautiful words, but experiencing consistent actions that support them. Picture conversations filled with honesty, mutual encouragement, laughter, understanding, and shared dreams. Visualize yourself feeling secure rather than anxious, appreciated rather than uncertain, and respected rather than questioned. Let those images remind you of the standards you wish to uphold in your relationships. At the same time, remain willing to communicate openly, listen carefully, and respect another person's freedom to make their own choices. Genuine love cannot be forced, but it can be nurtured through sincerity, patience, and mutual effort. Every healthy relationship is built one conversation, one act of kindness, and one moment of trust at a time. As you continue growing, notice how much lighter life becomes when you stop measuring every day by someone else's behavior. Your happiness expands because it is rooted in your values, your purpose, and your appreciation for who you are becoming. You celebrate your progress, forgive yourself for past mistakes, and allow hope to replace old fears. The more you honor yourself, the easier it becomes to recognize relationships that honor you as well. A heartfelt confession of love is beautiful because it reflects genuine emotion freely expressed between two people who choose one another with honesty and respect. Such a confession has the greatest meaning when it is supported by consistent care, trust, and shared commitment. Your role is to prepare yourself for that kind of relationship by becoming emotionally healthy, confident, and compassionate. Continue believing in your ability to create meaningful connections through openness, integrity, and kindness. Let every day be another opportunity to strengthen your self worth, expand your gratitude, and deepen your emotional resilience. When you no longer depend on external validation to feel complete, you begin living with a quiet confidence that naturally attracts healthier experiences and stronger relationships. Remember that the greatest love story is not only about someone choosing you, it is also about you choosing yourself every single day. From that foundation of self